What is up, guys? Kevin over at LEGbrOs coming back at you with episode 2 of our Ask LEGbrOs or Ask a Reseller question and answer series. We did respond. There was a couple comments on the last video, so thank you guys for responding on that one. The same thing goes with this one for episode 3. We will be just responding to the comments or the questions that you put in this video. So definitely comment below if you have a question for me about reselling, about life, about whatever you want to ask, and I will try to get to it in the next week's video. Hopefully we make these every week so that we have kind of an ongoing series that we can kind of work with. And if I don't have any kind of haul content, we can go forward with something to this effect. So let's take a look. We do have this. I did get some comments, Joy May, looking at you, that it was a little bit monotonous just kind of going through the comments themselves. So what I figured today what we'll do is we'll go through the comments, but we'll also go through and just do a little bit of eBay searching while we're going through that, just to kind of spruce it up a little bit. You guys can kind of see what I do while I'm kind of going on and on about what some of the answers of the actual questions we had here. So these are all the questions. Obviously, we're just going to do a search for Lego here just to see what we find. I don't really need to spend any more money because I've already spent like 12 grand this week, but we're definitely going to continue buying, when it's there. So that's the whole point of it. We do have a couple that were just thanks for applying from the last video, so they weren't any new questions specifically. Brendan has the first question here, said, LEGbrOs, when did you get into Legos? And awesome video. Thank you very much for that. I got into Legos as a child. I was always, as long as I can remember, my brother was really into Legos, so ultimately, I don't remember exactly when, but as far as I can remember, I was interested. Obviously, I had a dark period. That's a cool set. A little custom build. A dark period, just like everybody else does, when I was looking for, or when I was, looking for jobs and all that kind of stuff. Priorities, video games kind of took over the Lego life, but I got back into it now. But yes, I could say for a very long time, and I'm 33 years old, so quite a long time I've been into Legos. Ryan Plays says, how do you keep minifigures from cracking? There's really no way. I mean, it just depends on the coloring. I know a lot of, obviously the dark red, dark blue, things like that have a higher tendency of cracking. A lot of the white clones and stuff like that crack all the time. There's no way to keep them from cracking at all. Just be very delicate when removing the legs and whatnot, replacing any arms or anything to that effect. That's usually when they crack, I would imagine. Jude Paxton says, Marvel or DC? I'm a Marvel guy all the way. That's an easy prompt. There are some cool DC things. I like the old school, like Batman. I did enjoy the first couple seasons of The Flash on CW, I think is what that was on as well. But I'm definitely Marvel. I enjoy the Guardians of the Galaxy and all of the things that go along with that. This is actually, what is this here? Oh man, this little zoomed view. It's hard to see anything on here. I didn't know what kind of view to go in. Those are just a couple mini sets there, so I don't think that's really anything we'd be interested in. Anytime you see sealed sets for $60 and there's a whole box of them, that's usually something that would catch my attention generally. Let's change this up to, I don't know if it's going to let me do that. Interesting. Okay. Starmayer says, cool vid. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. More thanks for responding, for ST Cola. What to use to screen record, says New England, right, what I'm doing right now. I am using just QuickTime Player. Since I just got the Mac, QuickTime is built into the Mac itself, so you can do screen recordings, custom screen recordings, or the entire screen, depending on what you want. So we'll see how this goes. Tell me if you guys like this format. Maybe I'll just do something else as well. It's hard to say what the best format for question and answer to give you guys some content in terms of, enjoying watching something while I'm answering questions. Maybe I'll do a build next time or go through figures or something to that effect. That's not a bad deal. Actually, I thought that was sealed. That is not that great. With box, that might be good too. In terms of, man, I'm trying to multitask. I'm terrible at multitasking as well. So that was that one. Darth Maul says, do you know how I could do an OT Star Wars Army? Original trilogy Star Wars Army, I'm guessing that one is. Ultimately, a lot of the dotted mouth stormtroopers and stuff like that, I sell a ton of those, so that's a good place to start. Obviously buy from me, that's the best place. But obviously, we can always make you custom lots if you want as well. I can do a custom lot with pretty much any original trilogy figure you're looking at. I do have a couple of those lots on my store as well. But that's probably the best way to do it, is just buy a big bulk thing. Or if you want to just specifically pick and target figures, you can always go to Bricklink or something to that effect, build a wanted list and then kind of go from there if you want to do that, something like that as well. That's not a bad deal either. Ooh, that one's brand new. $199 for just a little teeny tiny set though. I love the Aquanauts, but man, this Harry Potter castle, it is going to be such a good investment set. Just the lack of supply right now has showing how much this is going to appreciate, because I've seen these sell for like $650. And on Lego, they're like what, $350 or $400 or something like that, I think, is their normal price. Maybe they're more than that. Are they $499? I don't know. I don't know what their regular pricing is, but we've seen since Lego hasn't been able to produce them that they've gone skyrocketing on eBay already. So that's usually a good sign of a good set. So if you guys find these for cheap, pick them up because they're going to do real well. Oh, I actually do need one of these. Interesting. I think 32 is a little much for me with 8 shipping. Yeah, it's not really worth it. Rick Martin, of course, our buddy Rick Martin says, very nice way to interact with your viewers. This really must stay a keeper. Also a question I really want to be answered. How do you predict which set will be good to invest in and which... I did not even time that, as I was just speaking about an investment set. I assume the 501st Battle Pack and the new Ahsoka Trooper will be good to invest, but what is the ultimate way to predict it? Really, there's no... I mean, it's just like the stock. It's just like gambling. There's really no way to fully predict it. You can use a little bit of smarts, which I usually do in my investment catalog videos, where I'm looking for things that don't have a proprietary application or anything to that effect. If they have a really cool set of minifigures that I don't think will be reproduced. So we'll see if we get Ahsoka's Trooper. If we don't, that set is going to be incredible. I'm sure they're going to do a couple versions of Ahsoka, or maybe the same Ahsoka in a couple different sets for the new Clone Wars. They'd be kind of crazy not to. They'd also be crazy not to use the Ahsoka Trooper too. But you never know. They might come out with something and then just use it once. Kind of like our Episode 2 White Trooper was in a tiny little turbo tank and then was in an advent calendar, his helmet. And that was it. And then it's so surprising because it's a white figure. You'd think they'd use it tons of times, but you never know. You never do know. But those are always good ones, especially if it's a lower price point. You can take a risk on it. But anything else is obviously a higher price point. More rare things, once they retire, are going to do better. Like the Harry Potter castle. It's going to be priced out of a lot of people's price point, and it hasn't been done before, and I don't think it'll be done again. And that is a kind of a sure thing when it comes to investments. If you don't think it's going to be repeated, a lot of the Star Wars ships are going to get repeated, and their old versions are going to go downhill, as we saw with the Falcon and stuff like that. So thank you very much, Rick Martin. The Anime Conservative says, what is the best way to sell Legos if you can't use the internet? I'm trying to sell about 50 completed Lego figures and another 50 minifigures worth of parts, as well as gear and complete Red Dragon figure and 2 tubs of bricks. He's thinking about waiting to the local flea market. That would definitely be one way to do it. It's very hard to say without the internet. That's totally out of my game because I use the internet for everything. I have no idea what you would use other than possibly just like asking people at your school or something to that effect. Duplo people. I can't think of any other way, the archaic ways of before internet kind of thing. I'm not sure what would be available other than flea market, but flea market would be a great idea to go through. Obviously, you might have to pay for a booth, unfortunately. I'm not sure how your flea markets work where you are, but ultimately, that might be a great plan. There's another box of sets. I don't think those are anything, the newer Hidden Side series. Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course. Hello there. Watched until the end. What's the cheapest price per figure lot you've ever bought? Also, how many sales do you get a day? I usually get about probably 20 per day, I think, around there somewhere. It just depends. I mean, the days are kind of crazy. Sometimes you only get like 6, and then sometimes you get 50. But I'd say probably an average of about 20 a day, maybe. Cheapest price per figure I've ever gotten, I think I got a lot that was like 20 cents a figure, and that was pretty awesome. Actually, the cheapest per lot, never mind, I don't even remember what that added up to, but the most amazing find video part 1 and part 2, which are actually one of my 2 most popular videos, those were definitely the cheapest because I paid $200 for that entire 3 tubs of minifigures. I don't even remember how many minifigures there were, but I couldn't have paid more than like 10 cents a piece or something to that effect. That was just an incredible find. Mad Dog says, yes, my question got read. Question for next episode. What is your favorite Star Wars set and minifigures? That is a great question. Favorite Star Wars set has got to be, at this point, either the UCS Imperial Shuttle or the UCS Red 5 X-Wing. Those are my 2 big ones. And then the little sets would definitely be the speeder bikes. That's my favorite. The old school speeder bike with the Endor Luke on it. That was definitely one of my top sets of all time. Still is to this day. I don't know what it is. I just love the Scout Troopers and speeder bikes. The look of that and the forested background box art, all of it is so good. Love that set. And those go along with the minifigures as well. Scout Troopers, Shadow ARF Trooper is really, really cool. But any Scout Troopers are probably my favorite minifigures as well. In terms of Star Wars minifigures, anyways. Obviously, Wolfpack is the old knight. The old Wolfpack Knights are my favorite old school ones. And Ice Planet guys. Man, I have a lot of favorites. I cheated on that one. Nicholas says cool. That's not really a question, but that's fair. Kevin Carroll said, thank you for the time and effort you put into these. Also, thank you for answering your question, helping decide too. I don't remember what the question was, but no problem, man. Glad I could help. The Nerdy Boy says, nice video. That's not a question either, but that's okay. What was the worst experience as a reseller? For example, a scam or from a seller or a buyer accidentally cracking expensive torso. The LEGO community has actually been really good. Knock on wood. I'm knocking right now. Knock, knock. Man, I should have picked this setup when it was like $10. I really should have. I just went over how I really wanted speeder bikes. I don't know. I got steered away from it because I didn't like the brick built figures. Or not the brick built, but like the buildable figures. So I didn't know how it would look, but I think it actually looks pretty cool. So I might have to pick one of those up if I see one cheaper. But in terms of worst case experience, it's not really... I don't really run into a lot of problems. Obviously, I've had videos where, I've gotten scammed where the boxes were opened and the minifigures were taken out, but a lot of those I don't even think were the seller's fault. They probably just bought them out of a store and somebody else did that and returned it to the store from which that person bought it from. So a lot of those haven't been really a problem. I've had some, like that 5-pound collection I remember way back when. I had an awful experience with that guy. He had taken out all the valuable figures after discussing everything and sending me pictures and then paying him. So I ended up sending that one back. But really, that's it. I haven't had a whole lot of trouble with the LEGO community. They're just good as a whole. Obviously, there's some bad eggs, I'm sure, just like anything else. But for the most part, everybody's been pretty great that I've worked with so far, buying and selling. General Newman says, do you like the Star Wars prequels? The prequels are my favorite. General Newman, if I'm not mistaken, you just started watching Star Wars, I think. I'm not 100% sure. No, I think that was a different person. But ultimately, I do not prefer the prequels over the original trilogy. Original trilogy is definitely by far the best, in my opinion. The episode 3 was pretty good. It does rank above like one of the episode, the original trilogy. It's in there. So I did like episode 3, the whole turning of Anakin and everything like that. There's a lot of action in that movie and stuff like that too. So it's not that I'd rule them out completely, but like episode 1 was just, oh gosh. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, it's Star Wars and Star Wars is Star Wars. So it's all good at that point. It looks like, so Boyan Dimitrov, just pronounced his name because I butchered it last time from his last question, so thank you for that. Noserack says, where do you get most of your lots? Right here. Right where here on the other side here we see eBay. Most of my lots come from eBay. Obviously some other thrift store like Goodwill and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get through that. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, things like that. If somebody's selling them locally, are great. And really, Instagram, people contacting me or me contacting them on Instagram if they have stuff for sale. Pretty much anywhere on the internet. This question has been asked a bazillion times, but ultimately anywhere you can find them. If you just do searches on the internet for Legos, ultimately you'll find something at some point, depending on what you're looking for. That doesn't really make sense. That's more, I guess it's because it's not available anymore, but until it gets restocked again. That's more than it originally cost and it's used. That's interesting. Judah F says, why Star Wars? Because it's the best, man. The best seller by far. Nothing even comes close to the Star Wars in terms of selling and everything like that. I really like these new sets of helmets. This one was a little bit sketchy. If they do a Scout Trooper, I'm going to be all up on that, though. I'm assuming they're probably going to continue the series, and I hope they do, because there's a lot of other characters that I'd really like. I might get the Boba Fett if it ends up getting cheaper or something like that. Here's Joey May. You have to change the way you're doing this. It's very tedious. Joey May always keeps me in line. That's just his humor. He's not being rude or anything like that. Maybe he is. Who knows? But ultimately, this is why I'm just trying to this. We'll see how it works. Comment below if you guys do like this with your question as well, because obviously you guys got to comment below with your question. Samuel says, hey, love the videos. Question, what's your top 5 Lego Star Wars minifigures? Oh, man. Right on the spot. That's hard. Kit Fisto's in there. Scout Trooper is in there. Shadow ARF. That's 3. What is another one that I really, really like? What would I say another 2? I did really like, which is kind of funny, I really liked the Christmas Darth Vader. I thought that was an awesome figure. Completely awesome. I don't know why. It just makes it in my top 10. Obviously, the chrome ones are pretty cool in there, but I'm not going to count those because those weren't necessarily like a direct kind of thing. They were just kind of a polybag kind of gift set. So well, I guess Shadow ARFs are kind of like in that zone too. So that gets a little bit muddy. All the chromes are great. Vader, C-3PO, obviously, and the Stormtrooper. But if I had to say just another normal one, I'd probably go with old Mos Eisley Greedo. Love the colors on that thing. The printed arms, one of the first printed arm ones other than Cloud City Boba Fett. So that sounds like a good 5. There's so many good ones. I probably missed a whole bunch that I've said were my favorite before, but it's definitely hard to say right off the spot which ones are your favorite because there's just too many. Leppy's Lego says, what would be your favorite Star Wars army to build up? That's a great question. If I was to do an army builder kit, I would probably build an army of different types of Scout Trooper, like a ton of Kashyyyk Green Troopers. Those guys were just totally awesome. That or the ARF troops. I really love the ARF look of the helmet and everything like that. So those would probably be my 2 favorites to go off of. Springy says, hi, best friend. What's up, man? Wade Wilson says, when Phase 2 Captain Rex is worth 3 times the set he originally came in. Yep, that's pretty crazy. It's nuts. I have one of those sets I have to post. I gotta get on that. I think my shipper posted the wrong instructions or something like that for it, so I wasn't able to post it. That's not a bad deal for that set. Not looking for bad deals, though. I'm looking for, or not bad deals anyways. I'm looking for great deals. There's one of my favorite sets of all time right there. Lamborghini already in hand. Holy cow, this guy's an insider apparently. It looks like Ron's Library said, thanks for answering the question. No problem, man. Nicole says, what is your favorite thing about being a reseller? Just having my own business. Oh my gosh, it's so freeing. I wish I could do it full time. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you benefits or anything working for yourself. So that's the hardest point or part of it all. But ultimately, I just love having complete freedom to dictate every single thing that I want to do. If I have a new idea, I can go forth with it. And it's so great and freeing not having a schedule on this part of my work. Like I said, if I could do this full time, I would do it in a heartbeat, completely 100%, which I probably could, but it's just the benefits are so expensive. And that would really hurt because my work treats me pretty well for working a limited amount of hours. So I can't really leave such a good thing. Have you ever gotten bad feedback on eBay for stupid reasons? Never happened to me, but I hate when people do it. Of course, yes. Most of the time I've been able to talk them out of it or just kind of like reason with them about saying like, hey, this is what happened. Just recently had somebody who posted something negative, which was my first negative that I've gotten. And that was about a figure that had arrived late, and it wasn't even my fault. It was the post office fault. And it's during all the crazy lockdown stuff. So it really wasn't even my fault, but I talked him into changing it. So luckily he was able to change it, but I've seen that happen all the time where people just don't read the description right or something to that effect. But for the most part, like I said, oh my gosh, that was a dream right there. I don't have $750 to drop on it, but brand new sealed Space Odyssey. One of my favorite themes of all time right there. Oof, that'd be so good. Looks like Joshua said, I own the second version of Ahsoka season 3 through 6. It was bought off eBay for $50. Definitely excited for the new fig to come from season 7. Yeah, absolutely. The new fig, it's hard to say what the other, that's a great set too. I've never gotten that one before. What the other Ahsokas will do once the new one comes out. I think they'll still hold some value because people just love that figure, especially the Rebels version there. Just crazy. Crazy what the value of her went up to. The nerdy boy said that's feeling when you get no that feeling you get when you read he read oh I think that's supposed to be say when he reads your comment. Here you go again. Thank you for the nerdy boy. Thank you for the well wishes in the chat there or in the comments. David Delgado says, "Do your kids ever take your minifigures? Do they ever?" Uh, if I'm working and I'm sorting through something and my daughter comes along and sees something, it's scalped off my desk in a matter of seconds, sometimes before I even see it. She mostly doesn't go through Star Wars stuff right now. She's kind of like interested in the Friends sets and the Friends figures. So right now I'm pretty safe in terms of the valuable things being scalped. But yes, absolutely. I don't let her keep everything, but some of them I do just kind of let her play with. Because you can't help it. She's too cute to prevent it. Separatist Bricks says, "Hey, if me or someone else is thinking about getting into Lego flipping reselling for around $50, what would you recommend starting off? Find a minifigure lot, not a set. Set's going to take too long. Find a minifigure lot so you can get a bunch of posts up and then start selling from there. Don't take any money at all out of the business for quite a long time. Just put it all back in, and there you go. I mean, offer good prices, and there we go. $600 for that thing right there. Offer good prices, give good customer service, and they'll come around as long as you have the stuff they want. It's really not too difficult, but ultimately it does take an investment and some time. So you have to be ready for that. Plus, there's a ton of stuff. A lot of people just think that it's really easy to just jump into it, and it might be easy, but there is a lot of tax implications if you end up doing it a lot more. Like technically, if you sell anything on eBay and you sell it for more than you paid, technically that's a profit, and technically you have to pay taxes on it, which I have taxes. We pay taxes as a business. So ultimately, there's a ton of stuff that goes on the back end. You have to get stuff so incredibly cheap in order to make it work, because even if it seems like a good deal and it's like $30 off of normal, say it's a $100 set and it's $70, your fees and everything like that are going to basically have you make like $10, and then you're going to ship it for like $10. So you're not going to make any money, even though that set was 30% off. So ultimately, it's very, very difficult until you actually know what you're looking for and kind of, where you need to be. I would suggest coming up with an algorithm of pricing, and then stay below that. No matter what, even if it seems tempting, it's something you've always wanted, stay below that. Always buy stuff that you can part with as well. If you buy stuff and you can't get rid of it because you like it too much, that's opposite of business. So I try to stay very separated from everything. As everybody says, what's your collection? What's your favorite this and that? I really try to stay separate from everything as much as I can, because ultimately, if I was connected to any of these things, which I still have, even with my kind of mindset there, I still have been connected to some things. But it's a slippery slope if you start collecting things on your own, and then your business just tanks if you start taking your inventory and going forward. One of these old sets. I've never seen that set before, but that's got to be pretty cheap. $30 for brand new in box. We're gonna have to take a look at that. I have to look at that later. That could be a good one. Why didn't it favorite? Why isn't any of the features working? What the heck? I don't know. I don't know. Looks like I'm getting text messages as well. It looks like, I don't know. Nicholas says, "Sorry, a little late. My next question is, how many minifigures do I have in all?" I don't even know. It's thousands upon thousands upon thousands. I really have no clue whatsoever how many the actual total is, but just know it's in the thousands. That would be my guess. So everybody, thank you very much for coming to this one. Doesn't look like we found a really great looking set. Let's go back to that one and then take a look and see, where was it? Oh man, did I pass it already? Did I already go to a new page? I totally don't remember. Was it on the last page? While we're searching for this, comment down below your next question for the next week's episode of Ask a Reseller, and then we'll get to all of those. Thank you very much for all of you who asked questions in this one. I definitely enjoy kind of giving back to the community, just like live streams. I can actually communicate with you guys, and it feels really cool. Where did that go? Did it actually add to my watch list. No, didn't go on my watch list. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna have to search for that, but I'm not gonna let you guys just kind of get dizzy for me scrolling through all of these things rapidly. This is about how fast I search right here, as well. It's crazy. My wife was always like, "How do you see anything?" My eyes kind of trained on what I'm looking for, and then ultimately, obviously, as I show that I'm terrible at finding the one thing that I was just looking at specifically, but um, for the most part, I know what I'm looking for, and I scroll pretty fast through these things because you kind of have to. I don't even know where that thing went. I'm going to take a look and see if I can find that. But thank you guys so much. I know this video got long as well, just like the other one. If you guys are still here, you're definitely a leg bro in my heart. Thank you very much for sticking with me. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share the video with your friends so we grow bigger and bigger and bigger, get stronger, and I'll catch you on the next one.